Holidays are a time of joy and sometimes sorrow. On the eve of two of the world's most celebrated holidays, we'd like to share the extraordinary stories of some local families who embody joy and sorrow, embracing the emotions on their journeys towards a better tomorrow. These Christmas carols are part of the spirit of sharing, and the people behind these joyful sounds embody the meaning of Christmas and what it means to be thankful.
Timmy changed me because I was one that didn't believe it.
Tom Larsen's son Timmy, the youngest of three boys, was born with developmental disabilities. At first, Tom refused to believe his son was different until Timmy was 12 years old.
When Timmy, we first found out at Texas Children's Hospital in 1963 that he was mentally retarded, I didn't believe it, and I kept thinking he was going to come around. I still believed it until he was released around 12, and the doctor got me down and sat me down and said, "You better admit it to yourself. He is going to be this way the rest of his life."
Now, 47-year-old Timmy is one of the many people benefiting from the ARC of Texas and Texana Training Center in Missouri City.
Texana Learning Center, we take care of over 70 people, individuals with very many different types of disabilities.
He's been able to get on that van in front of my house and give the driver a dollar, which he calls a tip. And they drop him off at the training center, and then in the afternoon they pick him up. Again, he has the dollar to give them to bring him home. And so the aspect of that is he did not spend that dollar during the day in the Coke machine. He learned that he couldn't get home if he spent that dollar, so that's a growing aspect.
Timmy's mother, Lou Larsen, has been involved in the ARC for more than 40 years. She's also involved with the Texana Learning Center on Cypress Point in Missouri City. And since his retirement in 1996, Tom has become very involved as well.
Actually, it's sort of my life. I've done it since Tim was 3.
And she's passing along that mentoring role, persuading Kathy Jack of Missouri City to get involved as well. Jack's grandson was born with Down syndrome, and he is now 30 years old. Josh's mother had pancreatic cancer, so Josh lived with his grandparents for several years, but he's now moved into a group home. And she can see an incredible difference since Josh became involved with the ARC.
He wanted friends, and after high school, he really didn't have any friends. He even asked his dad to buy him a friend. But once he came to the center, Lou's son, Tim, took right up with him. And then from there on, he just made a whole lot of friends.
And Tom chooses to look at his son's disability as a blessing.
And I look at sometimes maybe the man upstairs, they have a better world than we do, not knowing the problems that we see every day.
Counting their blessings this holiday season and sharing those blessings with others.
To be able to get your hands back on them again and know that they're all in one piece, and maybe been the first time that you counted all their fingers and toes since they were born, but you make sure everything's all right.
The relief felt by the mother of Iraq war veteran Pete Alvarado was palpable. She recounted the moment in 2005 when he returned from deployment from southern Iraq. And at that moment, she expressed the essence of family and what it means for them to be home, especially during the holiday season.
He did come home on leave halfway in the deployment, and he called and he said it's coming into hobby. And I've never left anywhere so fast, and I ran to hobby. So I had those moments, just us, and that was I didn't think I was ever going to let him go.
But it was a far different scenario when Lydia Alvarado first heard the news that her son was being deployed to Iraq. In fact, it was the most difficult day in her life, both her parents having passed away on the same day.
Actually, they passed within 36 hours of each other. And somewhere, it was about 10 days before that, if I'm remembering correctly, that actually I was driving down the freeway in between two different hospitals when he called to tell me of the deployment. That was a very big blow.
Having a support system helped tremendously, with Lydia's sister and family members, along with co-workers, teaming up to help during that difficult period in her life.
It was kind of lonely and depressing, you know, having to be so many thousand miles away from the family, but at the same time you have your Army family, and that's who you bond with for the 18 months with the train up and deployment. And that's who's there for you during the holidays, your birthdays, and we kind of make our own little celebration.
Meanwhile, in Iraq, current police officer and former Staff Sergeant Peter Alvarado was in the southern part of the country as part of the Texas Army National Guard. And despite the challenges of being half a world away, he says he has accomplished his goal of helping others who are less fortunate.
The biggest thing with a deployment is seeing how unfortunate other people are. You know, and we take things for granted here at home. When you go to a foreign country and you see how they're struggling, you know, that's the whole reason why we're there.
And back in the United States, Lydia Alvarado was counting on the help of co-workers to make it through the harrowing times when her son was putting his life at risk to help others.
At the time I worked for the police department that I worked for, and prior to him being deployed, there were some of the employees that were there were the very first ones, children who were deployed. And we started, we put a shadow box basically up on the wall of the bulletin board. So we have pictures of any employees that worked for the department so that when we came in the door we could see them, never thinking that my son's picture would ever be up there. But you just have hope and faith.
And that hope and faith paid off with his safe homecoming in 2005. This holiday season, we'd also like to give a special salute to other citizens who make Missouri City proud. Ken Banway has organized the Oyster Creek Rotary Club's Veterans Day ceremony for the last 10 years. The military veteran fought in World War II and Korea and served for 20 years, retiring in 1963. In all his years of service, Banway was only away from his family for the holidays when he was a private. After that, he said he was always very lucky to be home.
It's nice to be in Missouri City, one of the greatest cities, and my theory was that I wanted to stay here once I retired, and hopefully I could contribute something to the community down through the years, and I've tried to do that. And I think that Christmas is a special time of the year.
Missouri City firefighter Colby Ford is a Marine reservist who has served multiple tours in Iraq, and he said his service has been humbling.
Just how good it is in America. I mean, you're hungry, you can go get some food. You want to watch a movie, you can go watch a movie. There, it's a third world country. They don't have all that. They don't really have the same luxuries.
Colby weathered the holidays abroad by bonding with his fellow Marines, but the toughest time for him was thinking about how his mom worried about him a lot.
I'm sure she cried a lot. Now that I'm home, she's, you know, a lot more comfortable.
For Lydia Smith, this season is a time to get reconnected to his roots. The longtime Missouri City resident is studying political science at Morehouse College in Atlanta. He treasures the holidays because they're a time for family and wonderful memories.
The holidays are very important to me, my family, and my friends, because to me it's a time of giving and tradition. And I can first start by saying my holiday is special with my best friend Evelyn, because we've shared so many times and so many holidays together since elementary. So it's really, really special for me to come home and enjoy time with Evelyn, her family, and also my family as well.
His best friend of 20 years, Evelyn Rideau Pete, is also a longtime Missouri City resident.
I always look forward to seeing Lydell when he comes home from the holidays, because this is the first time that he's ever been away from home. And so I look forward to having him back with me so that we can share memories and that we can bond again as we used to.
Lydell has a gift of making people feel good with his presence, so it's truly a blessing to have him home for the holidays.